Some secrets do not just destroy trust when they come out. They rewrite an entire family overnight. And on Coronation Street, Maggie Driscoll's truth may have just detonated in the worst possible way. Maggie has been hiding things ever since she first arrived on the cobbles. Even before this latest twist, it was clear she was carrying far more than she wanted anyone to know, including the truth surrounding her husband's death. But the real shock came when it was revealed that she had a past with Jim McDonald, a detail that suddenly cast a dark shadow over everything she had been doing in recent weeks. Steve McDonald had grown closer to Ben Driscoll after Jim's death, and that bond only deepened as they supported each other through the aftermath. But after Jim's funeral, everything started to shift. In the backyard of the Rovers, Declan, one of Jim's old friends, recognized Maggie immediately as the woman Jim had an affair with years ago. Maggie tried to deny it, which says a lot about how desperate she still was to keep the truth buried. But Declan chose to stay quiet and promised to protect her secret. From that point on, Maggie's behavior around Steve and his family became more and more suspicious. She seemed especially determined to stop her grandson Ollie from getting involved with Steve's daughter Amy Barlow. At first, it looked like interference from an overprotective grandmother, but now it is obvious that panic was driving her. She knew exactly how dangerous that romance could become if the truth ever surfaced. The pressure finally cracked something open during a tense conversation with Ben on Friday's episode. Maggie accused him of favoring his father Alan over her, his own flesh and blood. That one phrase changed everything. Ben immediately picked up on what she meant, because people do not speak like that by accident, especially in the middle of an emotional argument. It sounded like a woman letting the truth slip because she could no longer contain it. By Sunday's episode on 5th of April, Ben was still pushing Maggie for answers, but she kept trying to brush it off as meaningless. When Ben then suffered a dizzy spell, Maggie took him to the back room of the Rovers, where the confrontation escalated. The moment Ben threatened to call Finn and find out whether he knew anything, Maggie finally gave in. The fear of losing control completely was stronger than the fear of confessing. She admitted that Alan was not Ben's real father. According to Maggie, she had once had a fling with a British soldier she met at a club, but she could not even remember his name. That confession alone was enough to shake Ben badly. He turned to drink almost immediately, which felt like the reaction of someone whose identity had just been ripped apart in a matter of seconds. He was not just hearing a family secret. He was realizing that a huge part of his life had been built on something false. Things only got worse when Ben ended up in the pub with Steve and invited him to join him and Maggie for a drink. That moment carried a cruel irony, because Steve had no idea he was sitting beside people connected to him in a way that would soon become impossible to ignore. Then Steve mentioned that Amy was alone with Ollie and that their relationship seemed to be back on, and Maggie completely lost her composure. That panic said everything. She did not react like someone worried about teenage romance. She reacted like someone watching disaster unfold in real time. She rushed to Steve's house, with Ben and Steve following behind her, and found Amy and Ollie together on the sofa. Once Amy opened the door, Maggie finally blurted out the truth that they could not be together because they were cousins. That was the moment the entire secret exploded. Maggie revealed that the man from Belfast she had the affair with was Jim McDonald. Steve refused to believe it at first, which makes sense because the truth was too shocking, too messy, and too devastating to absorb straight away. Ben, meanwhile, was furious that Maggie had let him attend his own father's funeral without ever telling him who Jim really was. That anger feels completely justified, because this was not just a lie from the past. It was a lie that kept damaging people right up to the present. Maggie then admitted that she had known Steve was Jim's son ever since she found a photo of Jim in Steve's home at Halloween. That detail makes her actions even harder to defend, because it means she had multiple chances to tell the truth and chose silence every time. She was not simply trapped by the past. She actively kept the secret alive, even while watching Amy and Ollie get closer. After Amy stormed out, Steve ordered Maggie, Ben, and Ollie to leave. Left alone, he tore up his father's memorial card, and that image said more than words could. It was grief, anger, disgust, and betrayal all collapsing into one moment. For Steve, Jim's death had already been emotional enough. Now, even the memory of his father has been poisoned by a truth he never saw coming. What makes this storyline hit so hard is that Maggie never felt like a woman hiding one mistake. She felt like someone who had built her entire emotional survival around keeping certain doors closed. But secrets like that do not just disappear. They distort every relationship around them until the truth finally forces its way out. And when it does, the damage is rarely limited to the person who told the lie. Now, the real question is whether Maggie has destroyed her family beyond repair. Ben may never forgive her for stealing the truth about his father from him for so long. Steve has every reason to shut her out. Amy and Ollie are caught in the fallout of something they never caused. And once a family is shattered by this level of betrayal, pulling it back together is never simple. If this fallout continues, Maggie may find that exposing the truth was not the end of her nightmare. It may only be the beginning. Subscribe for more Coronation Street updates, spoilers, and deeper character breakdowns.